Are you ready to be in the room where it happens? Next spring, your shot at an unforgettable New York City experience is here. Imagine 4 incredible nights in the heart of Times Square, exploring iconic landmarks from Greenwich Village to Wall Street. Picture yourself gazing up at Lady Liberty and reflecting at the powerful 9/11 memorial. But that's not all. This isn't just any trip. It's your chance to witness the revolutionary energy of 2 Broadway shows, including the one you've been waiting for, Hamilton. We're taking care of everything. Round-trip flights from Dallas or your closest airport, comfortable hotel transfers, 5 delicious meals, and easy transportation throughout the city are all included. Don't throw away your shot. Visit TravelBugGirls.com to book your Broadway dream trip today. That's TravelBugGirls.com. Be a part of history. Experience New York City and the magic of Hamilton. Welcome to the Travel Bug Girls podcast, the show where we dive into the world of travel, exploring everything from expert tips and insider secrets to unforgettable destinations and the latest trends. Whether you're a seasoned globetrotter or planning your very first adventure, we've got you covered with the advice and inspiration you need to make your travels truly unforgettable. So sit back, relax, and let's take your travel planning to the next level. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Travel Bug Girls podcast. It's Kimmy here, and today I am hosting solo, but I am interviewing a friend of mine. Her name is Lila, and she is going to share with us a little bit about her study abroad experience this summer. So, Lila, we're so excited to have you with us. Yay!
I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. So, just to start off, will you kind of just tell us a little bit about you, like what you're doing now in school and all of that, and kind of give us a little background?
Yeah, so my name is Lila. I am a marketing major at UNA, the University of North Alabama. I'm minoring in management. And this summer I went to Italy. It was such an amazing experience. I'd love to share my thoughts about it.
Cool. Okay. Well, you kind of gave us a little hint, but I know you went to more than just Italy. So can you tell us what countries you went to, like your study abroad, and then why you chose that area?
Okay. So I pretty much just stayed in Italy, but I went everywhere in Italy. Like we started in Milan, we then went to Venice, and then after Venice, we went to Florence, and we went to Tuscany over there, and then we went to Rome. But me and a little group of mine went to Pompeii and the Sorrento, and it was just so beautiful. That was a beautiful day trip. But yeah,
very cool. So, what made you choose Italy?
So I've always wanted to go to Italy. It's so beautiful over there. And also my great-great-grandfather immigrated from Italy to New Jersey. So I have a lot of family roots over there. Like, I don't know anybody that's related to me that's over there right now, but it was really interesting to see the different cultures and how my grandmother acted and how like similar she was to a lot of the locals over there. I really loved it.
I love that. That is so cool that you got to experience like family roots, kind of see the background of your family. That makes it really special. Very cool. So thinking back, like before you left, what were your biggest expectations and maybe like your biggest anxieties or worries about like studying abroad?
Okay, so actually for the class that I was in to go on the trip, we actually journaled every single day, and I wrote down a bunch of goals that I wanted to achieve like right before we got on the plane. I thought I'd just read it to you.
Yeah.
Number 1 is to fly on an airplane. I've never flown anywhere before, and like my first flight was literally international, so it was such a experience for me. Number two, I wanted to meet my group and who all I was traveling with. I didn't really know anybody. I knew maybe two people before I went, and we weren't like the best of friends. So it was such a good experience getting to know some people and making new friends. Number three, communicate with the locals. Now, the locals mostly know English. I want to say 75% of them know English, but they love sharing their culture. It is such a good experience to like meet people who want to share their culture with you.
Yeah.
Number four is to order in Italian. So sometimes I don't like it when you order in Italian, especially when you're in like the touristy areas and there's a lot of tourists like trying to do the same thing as you. So I've learned that you kind of need to establish a little relationship with the waiter and you and kind of get a feel for the room. It was such a cool experience.
So did you try it? Did you order in Italian?
I did.
Okay.
Yes. I was able to go in a little like tiny little restaurant and the owner was like so sweet. He was like telling us how to properly eat spaghetti and like all that kind of stuff. And he was so nice to us. We did leave a big tip, so maybe that's what he was working for. I don't know. But yeah, he was very patient with me and I was able to order in Italian. That was pretty fun.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm. And then the last two I have is to learn more about the history of Italy. It was so cool. Like Rome was so amazing and it really opened my eyes about like how we got there and how like Italy has influenced like the entire world. So cool. And then take a bunch of pictures, which I did. But yeah,
that's a good goal.
That was going into the trip. That's what I really wanted to do.
So were you able to like meet all those goals that you had?
Yeah, I think so to a degree. I mean, communicate with the locals. You really had to get a feel for it. I couldn't really talk to everybody because some people were just like fed up with the tourists and I was a tourist. I absolutely think in my mind that I completed those goals.
So can you share an example of like a cultural difference or a moment where you kind of had like culture shock that stood out to you and then how you navigated that?
Yes, so I have a lot of these. We actually, in our little small group, we would debrief after every single day and we would just talk about this kind of stuff. And some things that stuck out to me, these are kind of funny, but pets are essentially treated like people and like sometimes they don't even have a collar on. They just like follow their human. It was so cool. Like you can't pet the dogs. They're very strict about that.
Okay.
Yeah, they're literally treated like a little kid over there. They take them out everywhere and I don't know. I loved it. They groom them like every single day. They really regard their pets like in the highest degree.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yes,
okay.
It was such a weird little niche thing, but I loved it. And fashion is so like, it's like it has to be like everybody has to wear like the best of the best fashion, especially in Milan, which is kind of the fashion like city. But yeah, fashion was very, very expensive. I also learned too, since I was kind of with the business college, that in Milan, they don't buy a lot of new clothes. Like in the United States, we like to buy from thrift stores and like Shein and stuff, but they will only buy like 10 pairs of shirts and jeans like a year and they just rewear them. So like they love that high quality, but they don't buy a lot.
So they buy like higher end pieces.
And they don't buy a lot. They just buy higher end, maybe like 2 or 3 shirts a year. Pretty cool.
Interesting.
Everyone smells like amazing. Like you just walk by the locals and I'm like, wow, I need that perfume. And then let's see.
Was that everywhere or was that just in Milan?
It was pretty much everywhere, but the most in Milan. Okay. Milan's like that. It's the fashion city over there. I felt so like underdressed when I was walking in the streets.
Wow. Okay.
And then the last one I have written here is that when you eat meals, like go out and eat meals, the Italians look at it as like an experience and it should be regarded as sort of an event. event. So like they kind of expect you to sit there for 2 hours, 3 hours and like chat and eat and stuff, which as Americans, we're kind of used to going in and out of Texas Roadhouse in like 45 minutes.
Right.
You had to kind of like tag the waiter down and ask for the check. And I really like that. I think meals are something you should be like enjoying and stuff. But yeah.
I have heard that before about Italy. The one of our travel agents, she has spent a lot of time in Italy, and she said the same thing. Like, you go to a meal, it's gonna take like 2 or 3 hours, and you're gonna have all these courses, and it's like a whole experience. And they like sit down and really just enjoy being together and eating the food.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
I do too.
I wish I would. Yeah, that we need to. That's something I would bring back here. That's what we need to do
I would
in
so
America.
do that. Yes.
Yeah. But like you said, like we're all like, get in, get your food, get out, like hurry up. And eat.
We're such a fast-paced like country.
Yeah.
And going to Italy was just like they move so slow and they move intentional, and I really love that.
Did you find that to be like in most aspects of Italian life, that it's just a slower pace overall with everything?
Yeah, it was actually really cool to see that, like, when we started in Milan, it was really fast paced. Like, the city's kind of designed to, you go to work, you do your thing, you go home, and then you do it all again. And then as you're kind of going to Venice and Florence and Rome, it just slows down like so much.
Okay.
It was kind of cool to see that progression.
So like Milan kind of has its own vibe going. Yeah.
But yeah, like as you go to Venice, it's a little bit slower, and then you go to Florence, it's a little bit slower, and then you go to Rome, it's like really slow.
Okay. You did take like classes while you were there, right? Yeah.
I just took one course.
Okay. What class? What was your course?
So I can kind of make it whatever like I need in my degree. I could have used it for international business, but I decided to just make it a elective just because I can graduate a little sooner.
Okay.
Doing it that way. But yeah, it was just one course, 3 hours, and all I had to do was really take a journal and journal every day and write a 3 to 5 page paper.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. I like that you're able to like tailor it to what you need. So beyond that, like, what was your favorite experience or adventure that you had during your time?
So my favorite experience was when we were in Florence. We had dinner and we started strolling the Duomo Square, where the really big church with the big arc is. And it was probably 9-10 o'clock at night, and this like guy is on the side of the street and he's playing the accordion, and it was just so nice. And one of my friends decided to tip him and asked to play some like upbeat music so that we can just dance and stuff. And so he started doing that, and that attracted a very big crowd, with just a bunch of people from a bunch of different countries. There was Spain, Italy, of course, France. There's some people from Russia and like the US and stuff. And it was just so cool to like dance and have fun with those people, even though like we don't know the same language. We don't talk to each other, but like it was so cool to see like all of the different countries and cultures just come together and like love music and dance and have a good time. Yeah.
That's so cool. That's like such a movie moment. Like,
totally I know.
Sounds like something. Yeah, I can imagine. That's neat. Like, I love how music can bring people together from, like you said, all different cultures, and you might not be able to speak the same language, but the music can bring people together. That's really neat. I love that.
There's so much music in Italy. Like, it's so beautiful. You turn a corner and there's somebody playing something, and it's so good.
I love that. I love music, so that would definitely, I would enjoy that. So how did your study abroad, or your study abroad experience influence your academic path or even your career after you returned home? Did it change anything about what you were wanting to do?
Yeah, well, it didn't really change anything that I wanted to do. It just kind of made me want to do it more. It was just such an amazing experience, and I got to know so much about different cultures and how they market. I noticed that there's not as much screens in Italy. Like they market with billboards and they don't really market food or, small like Sheen or, low end products. They only market like Louis Vuitton, Gucci. I thought that was so cool how different cultures market in different ways and how it works for different countries. And yeah, I really loved getting to know everybody in my group. Made me so excited to be able to kind of be around these types of people that share the same kind of marketing language as I do.
Was everybody in your group like business marketing, like similar majors?
I would say most of the people in my group was marketing, but it was more of a management course. My trip leaders were management professors, but most of us do have like a management minor.
Okay.
So yeah.
Did you get to go to any like fashion related stuff while you were there? Like any shows or anything like that?
Well, we went to the Gucci Museum and that was so cool.
Cool.
The museums are very like small there and there's not a lot to like take in, but we were able to see all of the Gucci from years past. It was so cool.
That sounds neat. So how, looking back, what was the most significant challenge you faced during your program and what did you learn about yourself overcoming it?
So I would say the biggest challenge I've had to face was in Rome when we got off of the train and started using the public transportation there. It was so hard. If anybody is like planning to go to Rome or Italy and use the public transportation, please do your research because that was so stressful. But we got it worked out. I think I learned about myself that I really need to do research before I go to a foreign country and use their public transportation. Because it was stressful. While we were in the metro, this lady comes up and she was like, "Hey, there's gypsies over there. You don't want to go over there. They might pickpocket you." And it just added like so much stress to the situation. But yeah, just be careful in the public transportation. You'll get it. And be patient with whoever you're with.
So when y'all traveled around, did your whole group like go together or did you have like smaller groups or how did that?
So there was about 20 of us, and some days we would go and do something like, for instance, we all went and saw the Colosseum together. But then there were some days where we just like branched out, but we had to have somebody, we had to have a partner, especially in Rome.
Yeah, that's smart. Okay. So did you when you just went out like in your pairs or small groups, did you guys like decide like, oh, I want to go to Florence today, and so you would just do that, or did y'all have like a plan, or how did that work?
Yeah, so we had kind of a rough draft of a plan, but every plan's change, especially when you're in a foreign country. But yeah, we love to go to churches and like look at all of the really cool old ancient churches over there. But my group, one time we went to Sorrento and the Amalfi Coast, and then we went to Pompeii for a day. I don't think any of the other groups traveled outside, but we were allowed to.
That sounds amazing.
It was so cool.
So what advice would you give to a current college student who is considering studying abroad but might be a little bit unsure or hesitant about it?
I would say like do it. You're never going to have an opportunity to do it in that kind of situation ever again. You're with people that have experience with different cultures and you're with a whole other group your age. I mean, like when is the next time you're going to be able to go on a trip that's kind of planned for you? I think it's such an amazing opportunity. If you're worried about funds, there's so many resources for you. And yeah,
I 100% agree. Like it's the perfect time to do something like this and, go and learn and all. Yeah. So I didn't give you this question ahead of time, But this is one that some of the other agents in our travel agency who are also moms wanted to ask. So they said, ask what you think about having visitor like at the end of your trip, like someone flying over and visiting you. Would you want that? And if you did, where would you take somebody that came to visit you?
Okay, so like in Alabama.
Yeah, like if your mom wanted to
Mhm.
come over and visit, or like family or whatever, friends wanted to come
Oh,
visit at the end of your time.
I would take them in Alabama. I would probably take them to Huntsville, or like there's a lot of really cool hiking areas in Alabama. I might want to take them to one of those, like the Dismals in I think it's Hamilton. I think that's such a
Mhm.
cool little area that's really just native to Alabama. There's only things that you can see there. But yeah, maybe
Uh,
Nashville.
if you took your Alabama or your, stateside friends to Italy, and you could only take them to one place, where would you take them?
I think I would take them to Venice. I think so. I like Florence. That was my favorite place, but I feel like everybody else really liked Venice, and I'm a little bit more familiar with the layout over there. Yeah.
Okay. Were the streets, like, I've seen videos where the streets in Venice are like flooded, like where people are actually walking and stuff. Was it like
Mhm.
that when you were there, or was it pretty
Um,
like
It was a little flooded. Like it rained a little bit in the evenings, and I mean, just by like the little bit that we got, it kind of got flooded. I don't want to see it when it like rains all day.
crazy? I can't imagine living somewhere where like you get a little bit of rain and then you're like in a foot of water, like sloshing around
Yes.
to go to try to get somewhere. But
Yeah.
it's beautiful, so I guess there's that.
Hmm.
If you could sum up your entire study abroad experience in one word or a short phrase, what would it be and why?
Okay, so I had two little things here. My word would be eye-opening. It's such an amazing experience. It just opened my eyes to how many different ways you can do different things and value different people, and just like cultures are so different, and like I want to learn so much about everybody. Um, and then I had a little phrase here that I wrote like at the end of my journal, just like a takeaway that I took and that I want to practice on like myself. And it was to try to really take time to appreciate and do things well. So you look in Rome and you look at like all of the amazing structures and how like that's lasted thousands of years. I want to do and take my time on things that are really going to last. And it might not be as many things, but it'll be one thing and it'll be good. Yeah.
That is great advice. I love that. And I think that that speaks to really like the whole kind of what you were saying, like the whole culture of Italy, to like they slow down and do things really well. Even like you were saying, the fashion, like they are gonna only buy like 10 things a year to wear, but they're gonna be really good,
Mm-hmm.
quality clothes. And like when you go to a meal, you're going to sit down and enjoy the
Yes.
meal. And that's one thing too, like I'm always fascinated, like in other countries, how long they've been around. And when you go to another country and see like these structures that have been around for hundreds of years and they're still standing, and then you come back here and you realize like what a bit like a baby country the United States still is
Yeah.
compared to some of these other countries. We're still just like a little baby country. And we don't have the even our oldest buildings here are like young compared to what they have there. We just don't have that kind of architecture and all. And I just, to me, that always stands out to me whenever I go anywhere else. It's just really interesting to kind of gives you a different perspective on
Yeah.
us as a country and like the world. So I
Mm-hmm.
really like what you said about taking time to do things well. I think that's like a really good point. Well, is there anything else that you would like to share with us about your experience, or anything you learned, or anything else?
Yeah. If you're thinking about going to Italy, like go. It's such an amazing experience. I really recommend it. Go to Venice, go to Florence, go to Rome. Rome is very crowded, at least this year. So if you're going
I
to
have
Rome
heard
and you
that.
don't like crowds, maybe wait till next year, because this year's the Jubilee and
Yeah.
we got a whole new Pope and stuff. But
did you guys get to experience any of the Jubilee stuff?
Yeah, I think a lot of people ended up going through like the doors that were open. I didn't, sadly, because I was in Pompeii. But then a lot of people did, and they said it was just such an amazing experience. If you're religious, like it was just so like eye-opening, is what they said.
Very cool.
Yeah, I was kind of jealous.
But you got a different experience, so that's really cool too. So
yeah.
What was Pompeii like? I bet that was interesting.
Pompeii was so beautiful. It was just eye-opening to see how similar they ran to like us. Like you could see like the buildings where they had like fast food. They had fast food back then. It was so crazy.
That's crazy.
And then just like how their stores were set up and how like they like strategically located them is just like so advanced. It felt like it was so cool. It was surreal to see the volcano in the background too. Like you were just kind of like always like, dang.
Always aware. Yeah.
Yes. It was so beautiful. Like the coast is gorgeous. I would recommend doing a day trip. Like if you're going to Rome, there's a lot of tour buses that will take you from Rome to the Sorrento Amalfi Coast. And that was just gorgeous. Sorrento was very, very pricey if you want to like stay the night there. So doing that bus tour and kind of getting a feel to the history and then going to Pompeii, it was such a good experience. I felt like I was able to really like see everything.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, that's about all the time we have for today, but something we always do at the end of our podcast is we go around and we talk about, or we say where we're traveling in our minds. So like a location that we're thinking about. So where are you traveling in your mind today, Lila? Or where would you like to travel?
I would love to go to Scotland and like Ireland, kind of up there. I think that would be such a beautiful trip, and there would be so many beautiful views. Yeah.
I like that one. Well, for me, since we're talking about Italy and Pompeii, I hadn't really thought about traveling to Pompeii, but since you've been talking about it, I think I would like to go visit Pompeii. That hadn't really been on my radar, but now it sounds like really interesting. So
it's so cool.
I'm going to say Pompeii for me. So thank you so much for joining me today and letting me
for having me
ask you about your experience. And I just thought it would be great for other people that maybe have been thinking about doing a study abroad and they weren't sure, just to hear from someone else about their experience and what it was like and all. So thank you so much for sharing. I really enjoyed hearing about your experience. And thank you for being with us. Have a great day.
All right, thank you. You too.
Thanks for joining us for today's episode of the Travel Bug Girls podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It really helps the show grow and allows us to bring you more amazing content. We'd love to connect with you on social media. Find us online at travelbuggirls.com. Until next time, keep exploring, keep dreaming, and safe travels.